Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulihil kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een amma ba'd. Nadil Iqtisad al-Islami Jamiat al-Kuwait would like to welcome you all to this special webinar entitled Research Methodology for Islamic Banking Studies. This is a part of the events and programs organized by Nadil Iqtisad al-Islami, and as you know, every week, every day we are having programs, trainings and talks to benefit students and lecturers and professionals. So today's talk is very important for students and researchers as well who like to do some researches in the field of Islamic banking, especially for the students and also the teachers of this field. And today we have privilege to have our guest speaker, Dr. Selim Ahmed, who is the head of Business School, World University of Bangladesh. He is also editorial board member, International Journal of Business and Systems Research. Then he is also editorial advisory board member, IIUM Journal of Case Studies in Management. And Dr. Selim is also a guest editor in Transnational Cooperation Review, Taylor and Francis. Dr. Selim did his PhD in the International Islamic University of Malaysia, and he published lots of articles and a few books, mashallah. So this is our privilege to have Dr. Selim Ahmed today to deliver his presentation on research methodology in Islamic banking studies. Please welcome, Doctor. The floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mohidina, for giving me the opportunity. And I would like to thank also the Islamic Economics Association of Kuwait University for inviting me to share the knowledge about the research methodology for the Islamic banking studies. As our moderator mentioned about myself, that I'm working in the university as a head of the business school. Have been involved in research activities for the last 10 years, published several papers in good ranked journals. Also, I'm working as a reviewer, editorial board member for the many prestigious journal. So today I'm going to share some of our ideas, some of the techniques about the research methodology. I hope that that's gonna useful for your research activities. Okay, so let me share my screen and then I'm gonna discuss one by one. And after my presentation, if you have any question, you may ask, and I'll try to share with you about my experience and expertise. Okay, so I'm going to start my sharing my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, Doctor, it's clear.
Okay. If it's clear,
but seems your voice is a little bit having EQ. So if there is any solution to make it more clear, I think it's better for all the participants to listen to hear your voice clearly.
Okay, let me check whether my voice has any issue or not. Is it clear now?
Yeah, it's. Can you speak, please? Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. Now is better than
Yeah,
the
it's
previous time.
clear. It's better now. It's better now, but you have to raise your voice a little bit. Yeah, I think it's better now. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. So today's topic is about the research methodology for the Islamic banking studies. As myself I'm a Dr. Selim Ahmed, head of the Wall School of Business. I have been working this university about 4 years. Before that, I worked one of the private university in Morocco, my University of Agadir in Agadir city. And I did my PhD from International Islamic University, Malaysia. As I mentioned, our moderator, Dr. Mohidin. So before I'm going to discuss about the topic, let me introduce my university, as we do some of uh, whenever we go for a presentation or some sharing the knowledge, we also do some promote our own university. So this is my university. Its name is World University of Bangladesh. It's located in Dhaka, near to the airport Uttara. This university around 19 years old, and we have more than 5,000 students. Most of they are the local students. So we have around 20 programs and 11 departments. So if you like to visit in Dhaka, and you may visit our university, we can collaborate and we can share the knowledge with. So this is my university, and let me go to the topic of the discussion. So today's discussion, what I'm going to discuss, I'm going to define the first is research, and then I'm going to discuss the types of the research. There is two types. One is a qualitative research, another is a quantitative research. And then after that, I'm going to discuss the details about the structure of the quantitative research. So mostly this topic, the Islamic banking studies related with the quantitative research. So that's why I'm going to discuss about the quantitative research methods. And with the quantitative research method, I'm going to discuss some of the 5 phases, such as like literature review, research design, data analysis, data collection, and finding and conclusion. These are things I'm going to discuss details. So after my presentation or lecture, if you have any question, you may ask this related issue. Okay. So first of all, let me define about what is the research. The research is a systematic investigation, which you find some of like some fact information, truth information through some of systematic way. And to get the information, it needs to use some resources, some materials, and to establish some of the information. And that information must be related with the research objective and find out the conclusions. So research is a continuous process. So someone is done the research and it's not done, it can be conducted several times after time. So in Islamic banking, if you would like to do research, then you can do research as like a cross-sectional study. Also, you can do the longitudinal study, such like some study conducted in Malaysia. It can be conducted in Kuwait, in Saudi Arabia, in Pakistan, in Bangladesh, and even the Western countries. So that is called the cross-sectional study. And once you have a research objective, you need to determine what kind of the research model or the analysis you're going to use. So I'm going to discuss these things in the next slides. And the next one is types of the research. So in Islamic banking research, you can do either in qualitative research or quantitative research. Both can be applied, but mostly nowadays most of the research they are interested to do in quantitative research because it's a systematic research. So I'm going to discuss both of the things, what is the qualitative research and the quantitative research. I'm going to distinguish both of research, and then after that I'm going to focus on the quantitative research approach. Okay, so first of all, what is a qualitative research? The qualitative research is a process of the naturalistic research inquiry that seeks in-depth understanding of social phenomena. Normally, this research focus on the social phenomena, what is going on in the society, what is affecting the human life, society life. So that one is focusing on that. Even as Islamic banking, if Islamic economics, they want to know that what's their customer perception, how the Islamic values they impact on the
customers' life or human lives, that can be conducted through the qualitative research. It's a very interesting research method and approach, which can find out whatever the people they are using Islamic banking services, whether they are fully satisfied, whether they have any intention or not. That can be conducted through the interview, through the observation, and through the some of like a focus group. So this is one of the interesting approach, and many of the researchers nowadays they are using the qualitative research approach and to find out some interesting research, and that can be helpful for the Islamic banking to make a decision to further improvement. Okay, next slide. I'm going to do the analysis, also the some of the like a qualitative research. It's a qualitative research also related with human behavior. It's related with human habits, culture, mentality, mindset, tendency, and other adjective of the respondents. So because of whatever the human they do, qualitative research try to figure out why they are behaving indifferently, why they are not similar with one to another. So this is one of the approach to find out the human relationship with their culture, with their society, other things. But however, the quality research there is some of there are some of limitations. What are the limitations? The quality research they are it takes time to collect the data, and also it's a very challenging because of the subjective matters. Whenever you go for the data collection, some particular groups, they could be some different subject, and whenever you target another group, they could be also could be some different subject. Like if you want to collect data about the female customers, and they could be have a different perception. If you collect a male customer, they could have the different perception. Even if you change the culture, like one culture to another culture, one nation to another nation, one place to another place, one academic background to another background, you might get the different result and different things. So the qualitative research is difficult to gather data. Also to make a conclusion is very challenging. And another thing is mining data gathered by qualitative data can be time consuming, because if you collect a big number of data from the big number of respondent, it will take time. On the other hand, if you collect the data quantitative approach, using the quantitative approach, then it will be less time, less consuming, and it's very effective. So qualitative research creates findings that are valuable. Yes, as I said, that as a qualitative research is a very useful, interesting, but difficult to present and difficult to conclude. And researcher influence can have a negative effect on the collected data. So whenever research involved in collecting data for the quality, it might have the researcher in biasness in the collecting data, because of whatever the researcher perceive that it can be influence on the data collection. And other one is a qualitative research is not statistically representative. So the qualitative research cannot be generalized. Like one group can be generalized to the population, and it can, because it's not systematic. It's not has any statistical any tools used for the quality research. That's why it's difficult to conclude with a population. Okay, so how about the quantitative research approach? The quantitative research approach is a more systematic, and is related with a research objective, and is use statistical analysis to relate with the research model, research objectives, and the hypothesis, and collect data with a systematic way, and it's more appropriate, and it can address the research gap with the research objectives and the findings. And most of the researchers nowadays they're using the quantitative research approach because it has some structure, well structure, which can be acceptable, which can be easily understand, and it can be generalized for the finding. Okay, let me define about the structure of the quantitative research. So Dr. Mohideen, can you hear me? Okay, he's not here. Okay, so this is the research structure.
Yes.
Dr. Mohideen,
yes.
Is it clear? My voice is clear here?
Voice is clear, but I think you can go a little bit slow so that the audience can understand very well. Because most of them, I think, Arabic speaking people. Yeah,
Okay.
so you can go a little bit slow, then it will be helpful, inshallah.
Okay. Please help me if there is some any interruption, such like a network connection, because I'm afraid that
Yeah, yeah,
sometimes
sure.
have a network problem here in my place. So
Yeah.
okay. So this is the main component of this today discussion about the structure of the quantitative research. Please pay attention, because if you can understand this research structure, I can assure that you will be able to do your any type of a quantitative research, such like a thesis or the research paperwork. Okay. So in the quantitative research structure, there are 5 phases. First phases is a literature review, which is start with a research idea and then goes to the literature review. Second phase is a research design phase, which has a research framework and then identification of the research methods, then a sampling design process, population, sampling frame, sampling techniques, uh, design survey instrument or the questionnaire, and then the pre-test survey instrument, pilot test, reliability and validity of the instrument, finalization of the survey instrument. I'm going to discuss all the things one by one in the next slide, don't worry. And then the third phase is a data collection phase. Collection, how the data will be collected, then the data coding. The fourth phase is which has a data analysis. Fifth phase is a findings and conclusion. Under this phase, there are two things. One is a discussion of overall findings.
Hello, Dr. Selim. I think Dr. Selim is having a little bit internet problem. So we wait for him to join us again. We wait for Dr. Selim to join us again. Seems he is having some internet problem. So so let's review what did he explain about research methodology. While waiting for him, we can just share what we learned from Dr. Salim's presentation until now. He was explaining the research definition as a systematic investigation into and also study of materials and sources in order to establish facts and react new conclusions. So this is what he said about research. And there are two types of researches, qualitative research and quantitative research. Uh, Dr. Selim also explained qualitative research is a process of a naturalistic inquiry that seeks in-depth understanding of social phenomena within their natural setting, which focus why rather than what of social phenomena, and it also relies on the direct experiences of human beings and meaning-making agents in their everyday lives. This is what qualitative research, as explained by Dr. Selim. I think he is also here with us again. Dr. Selim, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you. I got a network problem.
Yeah, no problem. You can proceed. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So I was about here literature review. Is it? Last time I was in the literature review, or the last slide I was there. I'm not sure when I disconnected. I'm not sure. Okay, let me start from here. Okay, so whenever we start with a research, any of the research like a qualitative research or quantitative research, you must start with a research idea, and you'll get the research idea from the literature review. You need to read a lot, some like articles, published articles, and you need to read books, magazines, any publisher resources you can read and get the research idea. From the literature review, we get the research gap, like previously some of research conducted in some field or some country, and from that research you can get some of idea which is not touched yet, which is not contributed yet. So in your research you need to find out some of like a three contribution in your research. Either could be like a theoretical contribution, it could have some like a practical implication or contribution. Practical contribution we call the practical implication, or like a methodological contribution. If you use a new method, new analysis, it also part of the contribution. So this the contribution or the gap you can find out from the literature. You need to read every times, and once make sure that your idea is origin and it can be shared with the research community or some other like students or other part. Second part is the second phase is the research design, which is very important, because if your research design has a weak, it cannot be accepted, it cannot be published. So you should have the strong research design. Once you have the strong research design, then it can be easily accepted by the examiner, or it can be published and it can be accepted by the reviewers. Okay, so under the research design, there are several steps that you need to follow. First is a research framework. So you need to define based on the research objective or the research question, you need to determine what kind of research framework you're gonna use, what kind of research approach, or whether you're gonna use a quantitative research frame or qualitative research frame. Whatever you use, you must have the research framework. Some of called the research model, some of called the conceptual framework. So your research framework can be developed according to the literature review. You need to define, if you develop like a quantitative research model with a research question and research hypothesis, and that model must be aligned with your research, sorry, the literature review, and need to justify how this relationship is related to one to another, and from the which sources you got the information, you need to cite it. And once you can develop the framework with a research hypothesis, then you need to choose what kind of method you're gonna use it to test your research framework or the model. And once you decide the model, the methods, or for the test your framework, need to define your population and sampling techniques, sampling design. So in the sampling design, you can also choose some of the sampling, like you can go for the probability sampling, you can go for the non-probability. Normally, if you would like to generalize your findings, then you must go for the probability sampling. Under the probability sampling, there are different categories. So one is like a simple random sampling, which is mostly accepted for the researcher. And then the stratified random sampling or sampling technique, then a systematic sampling, another is a cluster sampling. These are the four are the we call the probability sampling. On the other hand, there are also the non-probability sampling. Under the non-probability sampling is we call the reliance or the convenience sampling, purposive sampling, also the snowball sampling. Also, you can use quota sampling. So these are the sampling can be used for the research. But if you use a non-probability sampling, such like a convenient or some like a judgmental or like a purposive sampling, you must justify why you using this non-probability sampling rather than not using the probability sampling. And the next one is a design survey instrument. Once you decided you have a certain research variable, and you decide the also need to focus the sampling techniques. So whenever you decide some certain number of the say that a number of the target group or like a sample size that you're gonna collect data from the respondent, and you need to have some criteria to select your respondent. Say that you want to survey on the online customer or shopping online retail shopping customers, and to select the customer you should have some criteria, and you need to define that what should be the customer. Is it the all the customer can be the participate your survey, or some particular customer those have some like a background, some like a whether they are male or female should be, or they should be like above 20 years or above 30 years. So these are the techniques you need to define before you collect the data. And once you define it, and you can work on your survey instrument, we call the survey questionnaire. So based on your you have some variables, 5 or 6 or 3 variables, you should have some survey questionnaire. The instrument can be developed according to the literature review, or you can adopt it from the previous published papers. It can be find from the articles. You need to search on it. You can find it. Once you develop your survey questionnaire, remember that if you using the survey questionnaire for the quantitative research, then under the one variable, one factor, you must have the at least 3 items. My suggestion, you need to use more than 5 items for the one particular variables. So once you define you develop your survey questionnaire, you can also include the some like a demography information. If the demography information is related to your research objective or research, then you can provide some certain demography information such like gender, age, marital status, academic background or income, other things which are relevant. And once you develop your survey questionnaire, before you collect the data, you need to do certain things. First of all, you need to do the pre-test survey questionnaire. You need to provide your survey questionnaire some expertise who are the expert or scholar in the similar areas, such like if you conduct research on the customer perception of the Islamic bankings, and if you find know that some of scholar is very much expert, who already conducted some of papers, published some papers, you can refer your survey questionnaire that expert or industrial expert to before you collect that, you take the opinion from the expert that your survey questionnaire is a good enough for that collected data from the respondent or not. Based on their suggestion, if they give you provide suggestion that there is some need to revise, so you can revise it, and you can improve your survey questionnaire. Once it's prepared, then you can go for the pilot test, because most if you have like a big number of target is a big number of sample size, such like a 500, more than 500, then before you collect all data, you need to go for the pilot test, because it's happened if you collect 500 data from the respondent. After you collect data, you find out that there is some issue for your research instrument. You got the data invalid, and you need to collect data. So it's going to be a time cost, and it's going to be your resource cost, also your money cost. Sorry. So better is that you need to go some pilot test before you collect your targeted samples, sample size data. So you can do like a 30 to 50, or minimum is a 15 sample size, to until you can reach like 100 or 50. So you collect the data first, like some small size of a respondent, and once you collect data, you can do some test. You can do some reliability test and validity to find out whether your instrument is valid and reliable for the further data collection. So if you find out that that can be reliability can be test can be conducted through the SPSS. I think many of the scholars, those are the students here and the scholars, the academicians, they are already familiar with the SPSS. You can use a reliability analysis and also the factor analysis to find out that whether your instrument is valid or not. If it's a valid, then you can go for your final data collection, which you already targeted. Remember that whenever you determine your sample size 400, 500 or 100, whatever, you must have the justification of how you decided your sample size. Because if you don't have the justification, the examiner or the reviewer gonna ask you. You can also sum up like a statistical table to determine the sample size. There is a sum of like information you can find from the Google. You try to get that one. Or if you use some of other type of analysis, like such like a structure equation modeling, if you use it, then you have need to justify like a structure equation modeling. If you use a AMOS, then one parameter, if you have like a one item equal to 5 observation, like under the one variable, if you have a 5 items and each item require minimum 5 observation, means the 5 respondent. So it's a reference from the Hare, Joseph Hare, who has mentioned his book name is a multivariate data analysis. So you can find it from the Google. You can download it from some of the online ebook sources. And if you have 5 items for the one variable, and how many respondent you need? You need one item for the 5 respondent and 5 items for the 5 multiplied by 5, 25 items. So if you have like a 30 items for the 6 variable, you have each variable 5 items, altogether 30 items, and you need 30 items for the how many respondent you need? 30 multiplied by 5, it's gonna be 150 is the minimum sample size for your structure equation modeling. But other than the structure equation modeling, if you use other type of analysis, there has some of other justification. You may find the reference from the different books, from the journals. You need to use that reference and provide a justification to the examiner or the reviewer. So the next one is a data collection phase. And for the data collection phase, before you collect the data, need to be considered some of the issues, some of the factors before you collect the data. Like if you assign some of people for the data collection, and that person or the people must have some well training about the data collection, how they're gonna collect the data, from which sources they're gonna collect the data. They must have the appropriate training, and also if you use some fund like a sub if you have to spend some of the money, then you need to consider you need to think about how you're gonna get the fund from the different sources to collect your data. And also, like if you need to use some of like tools like online survey data collection, then you need to have some proper tools to use it. And for the data collection, there are 2 types of data can be collected, quantitative research also. One is the primary type of data. Primary data can be collected. Another is secondary data. These are called also the source of data. And the secondary sources data is a published data, such like a data can be find out from the annual report, or like a sum of like Bloomberg or data stream, or some other sources, published sources. You can find the data, and that data can be analyzed using the different tools or different analyses. Another sources of data we call the primary source data, which is normally not published yet, and it can be extracted from the origin sources or primary sources, such like if you want to collect data from the customers about the Islamic banking service using the survey questionnaire, or some other like a observation or something, that can be the primary sources data. And the next one is a methods of collecting data from primary and secondary sources. So normally I'm already mentioned about what are the sources from the secondary. For the primary sources, I can add here. So from the primary sources, you can collect the data through the survey questionnaire, through interview, and also the indirect interview, like you are collecting data from the patient. And sometimes the patient might not be in the position to give you the response. So on behalf of the patient, those are the relatives, the patient relatives or the friends or the close person, they can respond to you. It's called the indirect interview or the response. And also the case study is a part of the primary sources data. You can study some particular group or the particular organization. That can be the case. It can be the primary sources data. Observation also part of the primary sources data. Focus group also the primary sources data. So there are different sources data method are related with the primary, also the secondary. And the next one is data coding and data mining. So once you collect the data, you need to create your data file in some particular software. So if you use a survey questionnaire, normally nowadays most of the expert, they use SPSS. They create the data file, the data mining file in the SPSS, and key in the data according to the response of the respondents. The next one is the data analysis. Once you collect the data, and you can start your analysis. But before you start your analyzing, the final to create your final findings, you need to do some preliminary analysis to find out whether you have a data is a valid data or not. Such like if you have so many missing data or like missing information, need to decide whether this data can be included in your data, or you need to drop some of or delete or remove from your data set. And also need to find out some outliers. So if some of the respondent, they have an inconsistent response, then you need to drop that response from your data file. And also to find out whether your data is a normal data, especially those are the quantitative data, the survey data. Once you key in the softwares, need to find out whether your data is normal or not. If you have issue with the normality, that data can be reflect your findings. If you expect like the positive correlation or the direct relationship, if your data is not normal, it might have the negative result or the opposite reflection. So once you find out the preliminary data is okay, the analysis is valid, the data is valid, then you can start your analysis to find out your expected result. You can use some techniques or some analysis related to the research model and objectives and hypothesis. So once you find your result, in the findings you will find many of the tables, many of the results, but you need to use those results which are related with your research objectives and research model. And once you find a result, and you need to use that result, and you need to interpret and discuss and use some of reference. Your findings must be related with can be related with the PBS studies work. And once you provide some evidence that your finding has some relationship with the previous finding, that can be easily acceptable. But some cases the finding can be new finding. You will not find some of like the PBS findings related to your findings. So it's okay. You can keep it that result. So last part is the findings and conclusions. So as I said, that once you have a findings, and you need to discuss the overall findings, what you found from your analysis. And then after that, you need to make a conclusion to what you got, and you need to discuss about the implication. If you have some theoretical implication based on your finding, if you provide some theoretical contribution, you must indicate that this is the part of the theoretical implications. Also, you can discuss on the practical implications. If you have some practical findings, some findings they can contribute to the practical industrial implication, then you can discuss on it. And also, if you have some like a new methods you applied, and based on the new method you found the significant result, then that also you can discuss here. And last but not least is a limitation. Each and every research there is a sum of limitation, and you need to mention that what kind of limitation you in your research you observe, and further that limitation how that can be applied to conduct the future research. Okay, I just finished my discussion. Here is one of the example, my recent paper about the Islamic Sharia compliance conducted in Bangladesh about the Islamic banking customer perception. And we just use a simple model, 3 research variable, Sharia compliance and Islamic banking, customer satisfaction, also the service quality. So our model was very simple, but because of our methods and also our analysis was very much up to date, and therefore the reviewer, they accepted our papers. And this paper is published at Total Quality, the TQM journal. It's a MRL journal. It's a Q1 is Scopus Index journal. So just it's accepted. It will be appear very soon. I hope so within this month. And if anyone is interested regarding this paper, maybe you can email me. You can contact with me. Then I can share with you. Next one is about the service quality, Sharia compliance and customer satisfaction, is about the Malaysian Islamic banking in Malaysia. Me and my co-author Rafiqul Islam Muhammad Mohiuddin, who is the moderator today, we have conducted this research in 2015 and published in a Turkish Journal of Islamic Economics. In this research, we conducted the research on the customer perception about the Sharia compliance, customers satisfaction, service quality. And after we collected data, we analyzed based on their demographics, like their gender groups, age group, and their background qualification, academic qualification, the income. We differentiate whether they have a different perception of the different group of the respondent, whether they have a different perception of the service quality, Sharia compliance, and customer satisfaction. So this one is available in at Turkish Journal of Islamic Economics. The next one is also the about the customer satisfaction and the customer expectation and perception regarding the Islamic banking service in Malaysia. We try to find out their gap of the customer, what the customer actually expect and what they perceive. So we found that it was conducted in 2013 and published in 2015. So in this research, we found that at that time, so the customer expectation was higher than the customer perception. So still the customer, they expect higher on the perceived service quality, also the Sharia compliance and the satisfaction. So this research indicates that still the Islamic banking in Malaysia, they need to do more work on the Sharia compliance and the service quality. Okay, that's all. And this is my profile in ResearchGate. If you like to connect with me, you can find me in ResearchGate. If you type it, Selim Ahmed, Wall University of Bangladesh, you can find my profile, and you can send a message there. I can reply you because every day I connect there and I read the message and reply there. Also, you can find me in linkedin.com. This is my profile, LinkedIn profile. You can connect me and you can discuss with me regarding your research, any ideas. I would love to share with you my thoughts and experience. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Selim, for your wonderful presentation and explanation of the research methodology, as it is also qualitative research and also quantitative research. And you explained very well the structure of quantitative research from the page 1 to page 5, literature review, how to do or conduct a literature review, and also how to design a research how to collect data in many ways and how to analyze those data in any research. At the end, you also concluded to identify findings and how to write a conclusion in a research. So it is a very important research methodology presentation for especially researchers and students. So I thank you very much. So we now open the floor for question and answers. If anybody has questions, you may write in question and answer section, or you may raise your hand. We will switch on the microphone for you, so you can also add your any comment, or you can ask any question. So Dr. Selim, we are having here two questions. Someone
Yes.
asked, I'm doing a quantitative research by time series data using 7 independent variables. Of one of them is dummy variable. I was planning to use OLS method, but my supervisor suggested to change into ARDL model. Which one is more suitable for my research, considering my DRP is near 2 weeks? You can see in
Oh,
question and answer sections. If you click there, you can see the questions.
okay. I understand the question about the this is research about the meta research. I know that the time series research is very useful for the secondary data, and you can use it OLS research method. I'm not expert that much about the secondary data. Mostly I use a primary source data. So if you ask me any related with a primary source data, such like if you use survey questionnaire, if you have a research variable, I would love to answer your question, but the secondary sources data I never publish yet because finance is not my background. My background is management and marketing. So if you would like to ask question related to the management marketing, I'll love to respond to you. Thank you.
Yeah, there is a second question as well. Would you recommend a good textbook in Islamic research methodology?
I don't know yet, is there any research methodology for the Islamic banking or Islamic finance? But if you like to read a general book, then I can refer you. For the your sampling design, you can study like Uma Sekaran book. It's called the Business Research Methods. Another is for the analysis, data analysis. You can use multivariate data analysis written by the Joseph Hare. 2009, you can find it, multivariate data analysis. These two books is very useful for the design, the research sampling, and also the analysis, quantitative analysis.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Selim. There is another question from Dr. Tawfiq Ahmed. What are the software that can be used for data analysis other than SPSS?
Okay, there are many softwares can be used. SPSS is not only softwares that can be used for the quantitative analysis. There are also different softwares for used for the different type of analysis, different to meet the research objectives. You can use a starter, you can use a data envelope analysis, you can use a software like Smart PLS, also the AMO software for the structure equation modeling, M+, HLM. Many, even Excel you can use for the data analysis.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you very much. I'm honored to attend your webinar. Okay, thank you. So interested to read about your research more. Where can I find it? Yeah, as Dr. Selim mentioned, in Google Scholar, you can search his name, Selim Ahmed, and also in LinkedIn as well. Yeah, you can find his researches and articles there as well. Thank you. Mufti Jalal Ahmed, kindly let us know some of the useful website for the secondary data or journals about Islamic finance, which help us.
Okay, for the articles, if you would like to find the articles, there are two ways you can go and find it. One is you can go to Google Scholar, and if you go Google Scholar, type on any topic such like a Islamic banking service, customer satisfaction on Islamic banking, or Sharia compliance in Islamic banking, you'll find some of papers. Not all paper will be accessible because there is some restriction, or some of publishers don't allow to open access until it reach some certain time. So some of paper you'll easily get it, but if you don't get it, maybe you can contact with the authors. Sometime you'll find in the paper, they'll find the author name. You try to find out the author profile research in ResearchGate, or like a Google Scholar. You communicate with them, email them, ask them to share the papers. Might be they can share with you. About the another question about the data. Yes, for your data, you can find this from the some like annual reports, some website you can find. This is free. Maybe they should be free, but if you want to find some like a big data, then you need to use some like a Bloomberg or some like a data stream or other sources. These are not free. These are the paid. Some of university they already have. They use it. As I know that the Bloomberg is expensive. Not all universities don't have the Bloomberg access. If you use like a meta research, if you are a student of the finance or the economics, you need to get the authentic data, and the Bloomberg is one of the sources which provide the authentic data. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Selim. Another question from Brother Nadir Mahmoud. How can determine the minimum sample of population?
Okay, there is a table you can use to determine the sample size. Even here, there is also the equation, the formula. You can use a formula. It's given by the Uma Sekaran. Even you can use the table. Maybe I can share the table if you allow me. I can share the table here. Okay, okay. Just give me some minute, 1 minute, maybe. Just I can find it. The table is in my laptop is already available. Let me find it.
Yeah, attendees and students, you may ask any question regarding research methodology. So this is a good opportunity for you to know more about research. So you can ask some questions as well.
Okay, there is a technical problem. I cannot share my screen here. I don't know why.
Okay, never mind. In that case, maybe you can explain or you can say.
Okay, so you can find it from the Google. You can search on the like sample design, the table for the sampling design. If you search on Google, maybe you will find it as an image file. You can find it, or if you don't find, then you can refer to the book of the business research method, which is written by the Uma Sekaran. In that book, you can find that table.
Okay, thank you very much. I think now we listen to some comments or question from Anod White. Please welcome. You may ask your question or you may raise your comment. And Nizha Lakminti, I open microphone for you, please. Anyone is there?
Hello.
Yes, please. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Dr. Selim, Dr. Mohammed, for this informative lecture. And my thanks also extend to the Islamic Economic Club in Kuwait. My question about the piloting study. What extent like we can use the pilot study? I mean by that, how we can rely, can we rely on the pilot study, on the content of the questionnaire only? How about the reliability? Can we do also the reliability and validity test of the pilot study or the main questionnaire when we correct it by the pilot study?
Okay, thank you for your question. Yes, whenever we design our survey questionnaire, and sometimes we get some of the research item from the previous published paper, and we cannot use all the item as like the previous paper, because our context or the study could be different. Like some study conducted in Malaysia and I'm studying in Bangladesh, so the area and the group could be different. So sometimes we need to modify our survey questionnaire, and once we change some of the word in the survey questionnaire in the item, we need to make sure that this item actually the clear to the respondent. To find out the consistency of the respondent, we need to do the reliability and validity. Yes, a mean you can check, but the mean cannot define the reliability. Reliability defined by the Kornberg alpha, which is a value is a Kornberg alpha range is a normally 0 to 1, and you need to find the Kornberg alpha minimum 0.70 and until the 1. So if you find the Kornberg alpha 0.7 and above, that indicate that your questionnaire, survey questionnaire has a consistency which was the clear to understood by the respondent. And on the other hand, for the validity for the each of the item, how much they are strong enough, whether they are valid for the further analysis, that one you can do the EFA, exploratory factor analysis, or we also call the factor analysis. You need to do the factor analysis, find out the each of the item of the variable, their factor loading, and the factor loading must be 0.5 and above. If any factor loading is below 0.5 and up, that indicate the item has some weakness, it's not enough for the further analysis. If you consider some of item with the 0.5 loading, that's gonna affect your final model of final analysis. So once for the reliability, you can do like any of the sample, like a 15 to 100 sample, you can do the reliability analysis. For the factor analysis, there is issue. Sometimes 50 sample size is not enough for the factor analysis. Most of the time, based on my experience for the more than 10 years, I have been working for SPSS, structure equation modeling. So I saw that if you do some factor analysis, your sample size is below 50, it's not going to give you the appropriate result, expected result. So you need to use a better sample size, say about 50 or 100. However, for the pilot testing, most of the student and the researchers, they don't show the factor analysis, the validity part. They only show the reliability. Even if you have the reliability, you can proceed for the final data collection. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Selim. There's another question from Dr. Tawfiq. Is there any software can help for interpretation of results of data analyzed?
I'm not sure that whether software can be interpreted, because software produce the result. They give the result. After you got the result, you need to like a table. Sometimes we don't consider all the findings. We just take the findings. Sometimes we create that sum of table API style, and then you need to interpret according to our research objectives and some format. For the interpretation, how you get the idea? You can get the idea some published paper, even get the idea from the thesis, PhD thesis, master thesis. If you read, they use a similar type of analysis, you can get the idea. So I suggest for the interpretation, you need to read articles, you need to read thesis from the library. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Selim. There is a question, how does Islamic finance research play a role in economics development in Arab countries?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yes, it's not only impact on this Arab countries, it's gonna impact in the whole over the world. It's for the Muslims and for the non-Muslim Ummah. It's essential. One of the banking sector is, even myself, I believe that one, because it's to ensure the free from the riba, because as you know, the riba is a haram and it's a affect to the society and it's affect to the human lives. So whenever we use the Islamic banking, and it gonna reduce the riba from our life, our society. We're gonna truly believe we can truly practice our Islamic things, because whenever people take interest, it impact to the other people. Those people take the loan from the bank, they must repay with interest, and whenever they pay the interest, and it gonna make them suffer, it gonna pain them. So Islam don't allow to any of the banking service or any transaction with riba. So we need to follow the true Islamic banking, which must be free from the riba. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. I think there is no more questions or comment from the participants. Let me finally check. There is another question. What are the scope of Islamic banking research? From Atkiya Subat. Yeah. Sister,
Okay,
what are the scope of Islamic banking research?
Okay, the Islamic banking research can be like if you consider on the based on the customer perspective, you need to find out the customer needs, because the customer needs, they are keep changing, and you need to compare with the conventional banking with Islamic banking. Why the people they are like Islamic banking service, why they don't like a conventional. On the other hand, also the why people they like a conventional banking, why not they don't like a Islamic banking. You need to keep doing the research, and what are the things need to be included, like in the people they nowadays they're using that digital Islamic banking service, how this digital Islamic banking service is creating the customer satisfaction. So you need to keep study on whether need to be apply any some of the new method or new techniques which can be satisfied, which can be attract more customers. So these are the scope need to be focused, and other things that also those are the employees, the internal people they are working on the Islamic banks. They must have the training, whether they have any what called the facilities to provide the Islamic banking service to the customer or not, or are they professional, are they believing in the Islamic the faith. So these are the things is related with the Islamic banking service need to be focused on the further study, and also need to some of other things is the quality management. My area actually the quality management, and in whatever the services are provided, it must be quality. It's not just only provide service and not to expect that the customer will come. You need to ensure that your customer will retain with you, and you need to keep improve your services for the customers. You need to improve your employee performance. So the quality must be ensured for the Islamic banking. So if they can ensure the quality performance, that's gonna helpful for the Islamic banking to improve their performance and to reach the global market. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. I think there's Sister Nezha Lakmiti. If you have something, please. Yeah. Sister Nezha, are you with us? Okay, Dr. Selim, what is the difference between paperwork and research? Someone asked.
Okay. Yes, there is some difference. Normally, whenever we start a research, we prepare our research project as a thesis, as a project paper. But thesis and the project, whatever you prepare, it cannot be published in the journals, because of whenever you go for the publication, they have some different format. I need to follow the format guidelines, and you need to prepare your paper according to the guidelines. So the thesis, they have some certain of the content, some guidelines, paper, they also have a different guidelines, different content. So the both are the different format. But at the beginning, you need to conduct a research according to the basic format, as I mentioned. Once you have the research, then whenever you go for the publication, if you target any journal, you need to follow their guidelines. And once you follow the guidelines, you can submit their papers. The paper might will go for the review process, because a reviewer might have the different comment about your paper. It could have the positive comment, it could have the negative comment, and if they accept your paper with some correction, major or minor, you need to revise according to the comments. And if your comments is satisfactory to the reviewers, they're going to accept your papers.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Mr. Zakaria asked, how specific is the research in Islamic finance?
How specific is Islamic finance? I'm not clear about that.
I mean, he's intending to ask maybe about the research. How specific the research in Islamic finance?
It could be have what kind of research can be applied in Islamic finance or Islamic banking. It could be have this kind of question. I'm not sure the specific. What does mean the specific is mentioning here? As I mentioned that yes, Islamic finance, if you go for the finance and if your data is related to like secondary sources data, quantitative data, and then you can use some like a quantitative analysis such like a time series data analysis. You can use some like a linear regression, also logistic regression. You can also do some ANOVA. Different kind of analysis you can use for that to find out your research objective and research to fulfill your research question.
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. Sister Zahara asks, how Islamic finance research impact on top management strategies in banking finance?
Okay, yes, it's essential because of top management, they make two decision, and their decision always impact on the banking service sector, Islamic banking sector service, also the non-banking sector, non-Islamic banking sectors. So the top management, they must know that what is the current research finding, and they have to know the findings. It can be have the about the customer service, customer perception. It can be have the employee perception. It could have the market, the current market, competitor positions. So the top management, they must know the result from the research article, because the academic paper, those are researchers publish, they publish unbiasedly, and then not to favor any of the banks. So that can be impact of that can be helpful for the top management of the banking to make a decision. And whenever they follow the research, it could have the appropriate decision. It could be have the unbiased decision, which gonna helpful for the banking sector.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Dr. Selim. From Sister Atkiya Subat, what should we do if different software give the different result of the same analysis?
There could be, but I think the result shouldn't be big difference. It could have some margin difference, such like if you find some mean value from the SPSS 3.5 for the one variable, in Excel could be like a 3.4 something. It could have some marginal difference, but if you find the big difference, there might be some issue for the softwares. Either could be like a one software has some issue, or the both software has some issue.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Selim. I think there is no more question. We can, if there is any question, please, we can conclude in 1-2 minutes, inshallah. If there is no more question or comment from the attendees. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Selim, on behalf of نادي الاقتصاد الإسلامي بجامعة الكويت. We would like to thank you very much for your wonderful presentation and explanation. And it was very easy to understand your presentation on research methodology and how to conduct, how to do data collection, how to analyze the data and to come up with the result. So it was indeed very important lecture by your kind self. Thank you so much. May Allah bless you. And we would like to thank all the attendees and participants for joining us. And please stay tuned with Nadi Iqtisad al-Islami in Facebook, Telegram, and also WhatsApp group so that you can attend more programs and events and lectures conducted by Nadi Iqtisad al-Islami. And we thank very much Nadi Iqtisad al-Islami, Dr. Ala, and all the members in the board for this privilege. And thank you, Dr. Selim. If you have last words, please welcome. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Muhyiddin. Okay, I would like to thank Islamic Economics Association of Kuwait University for inviting me, share my knowledge, small knowledge to the participant. I also like to thank the participant to listen my lecture, also asking some questions. And I hope that this is going to helpful for you to do your research and to do your future any kind of research activities. And if you wish to contact with me, then you may find me in my LinkedIn profile, also the ResearchGate. If you search my name, you can find it. Even you can find my Google Scholar page. So I hope that you're gonna contact with me regarding your research issue. I'll try to help you. So please pray me, and may Allah bless all. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Selim. May Allah bless us with proper understanding and strength in understanding Islamic principles, Islamic banking, finance properly, inshallah. In that, we conclude today's session. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.